Now let's go talk about rational inequalities. Remember what a rational function looked like? It was a polynomial divided by a polynomial. So let f and g both be polynomial expressions. A rational inequality is of the form, you've got your rational expression on the left, you have 0 on the right, and you have one of these inequality symbols there in the middle. Note, values that make the denominator equal to 0 are always excluded from the solution set. That's huge. This is the extra step in the rational inequalities. Whatever makes the denominator equal to 0 are always going to be open circles on your number line. Okay? So if 0 is in the denominator, whatever values make the denominator 0, those are open circles on your number line. Let's go do one. Go solve x plus 4 over x minus 2 equals 0. I'm going to put whatever's in my denominator equal to 0 in red. So x minus 2 equals 0. X equals 2. Since it's in the denominator, x equal 2 is always going to be an open circle. So over here on my number line, here at 2, I'm going to put in an open circle. Now go do your numerator. Set it equal to 0, solve for x. X plus 4 equals 0. X equals negative 4. That number goes on your number line. Now the question is it open or closed? It's going to be open because I'm going to go look at my symbol. There is no equal to, so this one is going to be an open circle as well. See where the open circle came from? The denominator is always an open circle. Values that make the denominator equal to 0 are always going to be open. Okay, I have a number line with 3 intervals. Pick some values. Negative 5. I'm going to go 0 on you because it's easier for me. And x equals 4. Something bigger than 2. 3, 4, 200, 2.1. Okay, go put in this to your calculator. See what you get. And then type these values and see if you get positive or negative. When I enter it in on my calculator, I have to make sure the numerator's in parentheses and the denominator's in parentheses, yes? Okay, hit graph. What do I have at x equals 2? What's that called? That vertical line? A vertical asymptote at x equal 2? What is this value going to be? Negative 4. That asymptote went with 2. All right, on my calculator, if I type in negative 5, trace negative 5, I get a positive 0.14. If I type in 0, I get a negative 2. If I type in 4, I get a positive 4. Okay, going back to my symbol, I want less than. That goes with the negative numbers here. Remember that this was open and this was open. So my answer is what? Negative 4, comma 2, and both of them have parentheses. Okay, for this next example, I need to get 0 on the right-hand side. So I'm going to add 2 to both sides. I get 5 minus x over x minus 1, and then plus 2 greater than or equal to 0. I need to get a common denominator, so I need to multiply this by x minus 1 over x minus 1. So I get 5 minus x plus 2x minus 2 all over x minus 1. Now collect like terms in the numerator. 2x minus x gives me x. 5 minus 2 gives me plus 3. There's my rational inequality. X plus 3 over x minus 1 greater than or equal to 0. Okay, if I set my denominator equal to 0 and solve for x, that is going to be an open or a closed circle. Always open. Denominator's always open. So on my number line, I'm going to have an open circle here. Now set your numerator equal to 0. X equals negative 3. Because it's greater than or equal to, x equal negative 3 is going to be a closed circle or a bracket. Exactly. Closed circle. Because it's equal to here in the original inequality. I need to go put this into my calculator, and then I need to pick some numbers. This should have been negative 3, sorry. So x equal, I'm going to pick negative 5, 0, and 2. I typed it into my y equals button, hit graph. I typed in trace negative 5, and I get positive 0.3. I type in 0 for x value. I get the y value is negative 3. So I put a negative. I type in 2 for my x value. I get positive 5. My original inequality right here, greater than or equal to. So I want the pluses. I want this piece because it was a plus. I want this number because it was equal to. I do not want 1, but I want everything to the right of 1. Yes? So my answer, negative infinity with a parenthesis to negative 3 with a bracket, union, parenthesis with a 1 up to infinity. Okay, for this next example, I've already got 0 on the right. I've got one rational expression here on the left. I want to set the denominator equal to 0, solve for x. I get x squared equals negative 9. Can you do that in the real numbers? No. If I were to solve it over the complex number system, I get x equals plus or minus the square root of negative 9, which is plus or minus 3i, correct? These aren't real solutions. That's not going to contribute anything to your number line. Your numerator, when you set it equal to 0, I get x equals 0. Is it going to be an open or a closed circle? It's going to be open because there's no equal to in the inequality. So it's going to be an open circle. Your number line only has one number on it. There are no numbers from the denominator because those were imaginary, not real. Open circle here. Give me two values to check. Negative 1 and 1. You can go put it on your calculator if you want to. If I plug negative 1 in, I get 1 over 10. It's a positive number. If I plug 1 in here, I get 1 over 10. That too is a positive number. I want greater than. I want the pluses. I want this piece and this piece. I do not want the 0. My answer will be parenthesis negative infinity to 0, kick 0 out, and go all the way up to infinity. Okay, here we go. Solve 4 minus 2x over x squared less than or equal to 0. I'm going to set the denominator equal to 0, solve for x. I get x equals 0. Values that make the denominator equal to 0 are always open circles. Then I go set the numerator equal to 0. I get 4 equals 2x, so x equals 2. Since it's less than or equal to, this is going to be a closed circle. So I go do my number line. I have two numbers on it, 0 and 2. 0 was an open circle. 2 was a closed circle. Now go pick values in each of the intervals. What are you going to pick? Negative 1, 1, and 3. Go to your calculator. Put it into your y equals. Make sure you put parentheses around your numerator, parentheses around your denominator. Hit graph. What was the first value? Negative 1. If I type in negative 1 for x, I get positive 6. If I type in 1 for x, trace 1, enter, I get 2 for y. That's a positive, correct? Is that right? Yep. If I type in 3 for x, I get a negative 0.2. What did I want? I wanted the less than or equal to's. So I want these values. You agree? My answer for this problem would be from 2 to infinity. So the bracket on the 2. One more? To get you started. You already have 0 on the right. You have one expression on the left. I'm going to take everything in the denominator, all those factors in the denominator, set it equal to 0, solve for x. I get x equals negative 2. That's in the denominator, so x equal negative 2 will always be an open circle. Then I go look at the numerator. I set each of those factors equal to 0. When I do that, I get x equal 3 and x equals 1/4. My original inequality symbol is less than or equal to. Since it has the equal to piece, these are going to be closed circles on my number line. So on my number line, I have 3 values. I have negative 2, 3, and 1/4. Make sure you put those in the correct order. The negative 2 is an open circle. The 1/4 and the 3 are both closed circles. Now I need to pick values. I'm going to pick x equal negative 3, x equals 0, x equals 2, and x equals 4. Okay, when I put this into my calculator, I have to make sure it knows I need all of this stuff to be in the numerator, right? So make sure you put an open parenthesis before you even start putting your numerator in. Your numerator was 3 minus x in parentheses. Oops. Hold on. So here comes the numerator, and I want 3 minus x. What else do I want? 4x minus 1 to the 4th. Okay, I put all of that in parentheses. And then I want to say divided by. Here comes another parenthesis for my denominator. And in my denominator, I want x plus 2 squared. Make sure you put all of the numerator in parentheses and all of the denominator in parentheses. Hit graph. I'm going to do x equal 4 first. I get negative 1406 and some change. If I do x equal 2, I get positive 150 and some change. If I do x equals 0, I get positive 3/4. And if I do x equal negative 3, I get a really big number, 171,000. Okay, I wanted less than or equal to zeros, right? So here, I want that piece that's less than 0. And I want here, and I want here. My answer. How do I say just the number 1/4? The braces. So I'm going to say the number 1/4. What else? Bracket 3 to infinity with a parenthesis. That 1/4 came from right here. That was where it was equal to 0, right?